again, but it's very difficult, especially when the weather is funny. I don't know, it affects the network ethers. So if we're pausing and it's not good, let us know, and I'm gonna stop it, and I'll try to do the stream again later in the week. And I think sometimes when these things happen, there's a message in the universe, because I always try to teach without jeopardizing the sacredness of the practice. I try share messages around, you know, African spirituality without revealing things that are not necessary for everyone to know, because all of us have a yearning to be spiritually connected and grounded, but not all of us are supposed to understand the sacredness of the practices of healing, because we're not all called into that practice. So even if some of us are called into the practice of healing, but very few of us are chosen to then be healers and facilitate healing for other people. So question number one, so Gogo, if I'm called and I have to be a Sangoma, does it mean I need to practice? Not necessarily, because sometimes you are called into becoming a healer because your family have lost their rituals and they've lost their footing and ways of connecting to the ancestors, that going through the spiritual journey of initiation reminds your people of who they are. It reminds your whole family of who they are and what they have left behind. And by you doing those things, you actually do connect and reconnect with your ancestors. And then these can be rituals that can then be used. So you can learn certain rituals, that can be actually rituals that can be used to help your family, even you, because one of the most important things you learn path. So you learn ukhuluma netlozi, you learn to understand amatlozi. So it could be that you uthwasela lokho kuphela. You uthwasela to go and make well what is not well within yourself as a system, but also what is not well within your family system. And that could be it. So should I have isgodlo or indumba? So every home has to have a shrine. Isgodlo or indumba is where people like us practice. Then because of issues of space that we have, we understand now how important land is to us as black people. We have igodlo as nomsamo futhi, meaning that's where we also phahla abangasekho ekhaya. So you have to have that whether you're going to practice or not. But how do you know you're going to practice or not? It becomes important for you to be led by your ancestors, because they can never lead you to a very busy hospital and the expectation is that you don't practice. Your ancestors lead you where they know that whatever you're going to receive is going to aid you in your element and is going to aid you on your path of your calling. So it's very important for you to be ancestrally led. Where I said earlier on before we cut off, the significance of dreams, there's the spirit speaking through to you through your dreams. So if you're not a dreamer yet and you are told you have a calling, it means the time to initiate has not come yet. Because abangasekho namadlozi, they speak to us through dreams. So you need to get messages, you need to get signs, you need to get symbols that are from them, that speak to the journey in which they have called you to embark on, because they have called you. They're the ones who have to lead you. I, as a Sangoma, I am an intermediary between you and your people. So when you come to me seeking help, I cannot say to you it is time to initiate. I can say your time has come. My role and my responsibility is to open up the connection you should be having with your ancestors. If I, as a Sangoma, fail in doing so, does not mean that I'm not good at what I'm doing. It could be what I use and what I have is not the things that your people are needing, cannot enable you to connect and create alignment with your ancestors. So if that's the case, you cannot then take this journey with me to the next level and initiate with me. Because to be your initiator, it means that I have somewhat had a hand in aligning you with your ancestors. There is some agreement that has happened. Even though I might have helped you, it does not necessarily mean that I'm going to be your initiator. This journey is complex. This journey is difficult. Many of us understand it from different perspectives and different points of views, because it's all through our own experiences that we can then tell, teach, and understand what to offer and gift to people. So it is important for the ones who are gifted to be very discerning on the journey. And discernment is not just an emotional thing. It is a deeper feeling without you understanding why, but there's a strong sense of things. So when you are seeking services from somebody else, I've posted streams on what to do to be discerning. So it is very important for you to know that when you're coming to a healer, they're helping open the gateway. They're helping open the pathway to you and your ancestors, so they can speak to you. They can be the ones that lead you to a path in which they want you to take. Because there are different types of also initiations when it comes to Bungoma. The most common one now is Umgunu Nomdao. And the next stream I'm gonna do is to say from Kokodino's perspective and experience and understanding, why is it that so many of us are now called to initiate Umdao? Very simple in a short sentence. I believe Umdao is asking us to go back to our Africanness, go back to our interconnectedness as a black race. It's now starting to move us away from our own individual tribes, because as Africans, we are not really tribalistic. That came with the configuration of colonization and apartheid. We need to understand our history, and the history that we need to understand is the one that is not diluted with religions that came to eradicate our own belief systems. Because history tells us the truth in facts, that religion was used to move us away from the essence of who we are as Africans. It demonized everything else. So in God's eyes, our gifts are not evil, because everything that we use, so do not be conflicted as a Christian or any other religious faith that taking this route is demonic or going against God, because we as healers use everything that is made by God. When in Genesis says everything that I have created utilizes for your health, well-being, we are actually at the optimum of that very essence of God's teaching. Because we use medicinal plants, we use water, we use mountains, we use everything that God has created to facilitate healing. We invite the powers that be, including God thyself, to intervene as we facilitate healing. So how can we, as the people who use the essences of God, then be ungodly? We then become ungodly when we start moving towards what God has not called us to do. When we start doing things against people's wills and imposing our ways instead of opening ways and saying, you have a choice. Choose which path you want to take. Because even as your healer, I'm there to be your guider. I'm there to be your aider. I am not there to impose which journey you should take. If you are not ready to take on the journey, you're not ready to take on the journey. The other question I get asked a lot is, Gogo, what if I say no? Because you are spirit having a human experience. It means that in the spirit level, you have signed up for why you wanted to be a human being. And part of it was that my calling will be to be a healer. And part of it was I will have to take initiation routes to do that. So if you're denying that, it means you are not in alignment with yourself. So your ancestors don't punish you. They're there to remind you why you are here. They are here to remind you what you are here. So if you are not wanting to acknowledge yourself for the true essence of who you are the one who's inviting suffering, not them. They just remind you. You signed a spiritual contract saying yes to this person. I said yes, I want to be Kokodineo. So everything that came towards Kokodineo was just an awakening for me to remember the essence of why I'm here. And my path still is a path of growing up. It's still a path of elevation. So every time I need to grow up, I need to experience growth pains that come in challenges, that comes in difficulties. The minute I learn to navigate those things, I learn new lessons, new ways, and I grow up and I become better and I do better for why I am here. So you need to also understand that, yes, your family is very important, and I'm an advocate of having your family be enrolled, because this calling impacts the family as well. So the family is very important for them to be for it. But if they are not for it, you're not going to wait for masses to come and make you a community project to support you on a path in which you are called to take. Maybe it is by you embarking on it and you being an example of what it means being in alignment with yourself and the essence of who you are as a black child, that can then be an invitation to those who have lost themselves in other identities, demonizing the essence of who they are. Because we need to understand that religion as it is, human beings interpreted scriptures, and then it said that being like this is wrong and being like this is right. Because religion, it is about, divide and conquer, is about right and wrong. But spirituality says in the very essence of every religion, in a very essence of all the callings, there's all of it is the same, because there are many paths that lead to one God. And we as Africans, our path is calling upon those who have lived before us, because those who've lived before us, when we call upon them, we invite and we evoke the power of our black lines to be there and show up for us. Because ukuphahla amadlozi is to pave and clear a way, so when we are connecting to divinity, the gates are open. So if you're denying your calling, you can't say idlozi lukwenza so, because remember, these people once had a living experience. They once were humans. They're just there to remind you. There are signals and signs. So the suffering you're experiencing is there to awaken you. But if you choose to be asleep, the alarm will still continue to ring. It's either to your own irritation or to your own sense of awakening. So the choice is up to you. So how do you know for sure that this person is your gobela? There are many things that tell that this person is the one who's meant to initiate you. That's why Batimpande, especially Umdao. Because Umdao is a very unique spirit, and I will speak to it another time. Because Umdao, most of it is not one whom you are connected to by bloodline. You are connected to Umdao by different things that connect you to Umdao. So it wants its own mbande. So when you've got what babis Umdao, it's very important for you to be led to Leon Mbande, because it understands that peace will be restored by me being in that mbande, because everything that's done in that mbande are things that are going to restore alignment and wellness within me as a spirit possessing you to head on the call. We are all izithunywa, messengers of healing, messengers of love and light. So we need to understand that when apartheid came to be, then African spiritual practices were criminalized. Therefore, people could not practice ubungoma. Hence, the kereketa spirit. It did not stop the calling from continuing. It did not stop the gifts. The gifts did not pause. That's why people say, why is it that it looks like fashion? In some level, yes, there's people who all want to do it, but it's not actually everyone who's called. But the gift had to find its home, and it found its home in church. It found its home as a prophet. But it's all the very same thing, because nenyanga is 70 samans, non-profit to 70 samans. Iswasho, which are mineral salts, part of it comes from the earth. Similarly, so does muti come from the earth. So by doing his prophet, is honoring the one who used the gifts of healing from their ancestors through church. By honoring Ngaka, it's using the one who used it. By honor, you are always in honor. So you will be given multiple gifts, but they're not supposed to be in contradictions. Human beings want to see differences too much versus seeing synergies. And it's one tree. Gifts are from the one source, from God. And they manifest in different branches. So you need to understand, Guti, there is no contradiction. A contradiction is what humans see with their limited viewpoint. In spirituality, all these gifts are connected. I hope with this short stream I've shed some light when it comes to the calling. My cameraman is saying that my time is up. But maybe I'll do part 2. And part 2, I'll do a series of the calling, and I'll speak on the next stream about signs that you need to see. But I don't want to share and overshare, because it's going to jeopardize those of you who are listening to me who are called. Sometimes you need to be able to cultivate the power within and start to trust you, because you're going to need that moye pehlweni. Otherwise, usabose pehlweni is still doubting. Because I know some of you are tuning into my streams and nise pehlweni. Angeko connected to multiple networks. One of it must die. And you're going to get confused and get conflicted. And you'll never really listen to those who have called you towards the path of greatness. Because at the end of it, it is a path of greatness, but it's not paved with gold. You have to dig the gold for yourself. Stay tuned. Till next time. Love and lights, beloved. So the network didn't fail us. Did you save it?
No.
Oh, end.
To end now.